ladies and gentlemen, here we go for race 1. Scott Malawi and Maximilian Gunther have the front row. Yuho and Mike Doling on the second row. McCready and Justin Swafford on the third row. Mike Marshall and Matt Bear have the fourth row. Ed Schiller and Richie Joplin rounding out the field. Honestly, kind of expected a much bigger field here this morning. Brands Hatch is a pretty popular track. With the top two in points out, though, today is Mike Doling's big chance. Both Mike and Yuho could really pick up a ton of points here today. Everybody getting gridded up here. And, of course, the first few turns of this track, trying to do side-by-side, things could get very interesting very, very quickly. That first lap could tell the tale. And don't forget, the top 7 finishers from race number 1 will invert, and that's how they will start for race number 2. So whoever finishes 7th in this race, they're going to start on the pole of the next one. Looks like everybody but Matt Bear has taken to the grid. Everybody getting those last minute setup adjustments in. Three weeks left to go in the season after today, and the points that were starting to get a little bit spread out earlier in the season might be extremely close going into that final 3 weeks. Doesn't look like Matt Bear makes the grid. The pace car is rolling. Scott Malawi will lead him down. Scott extremely fast last week. We'll see if he can do it again here today. Actually, just looking at the standings, a few drivers not here in the top 10. Adam Barker not here. Giancarlo not here. Avery Walker is not here. Ronnie Wimberly is not here. Nick Sorensen is not here. Harry Volsmere is not here. So, could see some dramatic changes in the points going into next week. We posted the points on Facebook earlier this morning. The points coming into this race, you can find that there. And you definitely want to watch closely, because I think the next few weeks things are going to change dramatically in the standings. Some of the drivers taking to warming up the tires here. It looks like Adam Barker is actually at a Mini Cooper convention today. He posted some pictures in Discord with a lot of minis. If you have a favorite driver, drop in the comments. Let us know who you're cheering for. Let us know who you think is going to win here today. And they fire out of the final turn. Green flag is in the air. Nolowi gets a good jump on the field up to the high side for turn 1. Everybody getting almost single file all the way through. Matt Bear is rolling off pit road now. Richie Joplin, Ed Schiller at the back. Ed saying he is just trying to survive here and stay out of trouble today. Been out for a couple weeks. Richie and Justin Swafford, both of the Nelski Nation guys here. Hey, good morning, Curtis. Swafford in one of the 3 Mercedes this morning. It's so odd seeing 3 Mercedes out there. Oh, Swafford a little wide. We did mention in pre-race. There are a few spots on the track where you have runoff zones, but that was not one of them. And we do expect to see a couple of slowdown penalties throughout the day from guys just overshooting. McMullen McCready up to 5th now. And the top 5 pretty much has not changed position since the drop of the green flag. Nalawi, Maximilian Gunther, Yuho, Mike Dolling, and McBullet all started and are currently running 1st through 5th. Justin Swafford in 6th, Mike Marshall in 7th, Richie Joplin up 2 spots into 8th, Ed Schiller. Oh, make that. Oh! Richie, hang on to it. Richie goes around just as it looked like he was going to move up a little bit. Let's see if we can see a different angle on what happened here. Oh, looks like it just ran out of track. The Porsche was coming across. Mike Marshall coming back in as Richie was trying to make some, get a little bit wider, carry some momentum there. Looked like Richie might have was aiming for that pass, was picking up another spot. Scott Nalawi, Maximilian Gunther, and Yuho all still nose to tail. They've got a little bit of a gap now on Mike Dolling. McCready back in 5th, Swafford to 6th. Mike Marshall now back in 7th. Ed Schiller up to 8th. Richie Joplin lost about 5 seconds from that. He is back to 9th. Look for him to start trying to close back in on the lead group before long. And it looks like Swafford has gone off track. Headed down towards turn 1, and oh, a little too much brake, goes wide through the dirt. Manages to get it back out on track, but he loses a lot of ground here. Maximilian Gunther in 2nd. They have started to put a little bit of a gap on Yuho in 3rd now. Although Yuho just turned the fastest lap of the race so far. Don't expect Yuho to be far behind for very long. Ed Schiller has gone off track. Oh, just clipped a little too much of the rumble strip there. Manages to get the car back out on track, but loses a little bit of time. Meanwhile, Matt Bear, who started on pit road, has made his way back up to 8th. Oh, Scott, oh, nope, that was the runoff zone. My bad. It looked like they went wide, but that is a permitted runoff zone. So Scott Nalawi, Max Gunther still on track. No off-track scored to them, and they continue rolling. Still nose to tail in the 2 BMWs, followed by the Mercedes, the 2 Mercedes of Yuho and Mike Dolling. McCready back in 5th in the BMW. Mike Dolling has gone off track right behind. There he comes. We were just looking at it. Cuts that, just gets in a little too deep into that little kink in the track. Manages to keep it off the wall. Great save by Mike Dolling, and McCready slips by in the process, now up into fourth. Yuho staying within striking distance of the two leaders. Not a lot of on-track battling going on here in the first few minutes of the race. Mike Dolling now back into fifth, has Justin Swafford in sixth, gaining on him though. The lone Porsche in the field back in seventh. That is Mike Marshall. The lone Ferrari in the field, Ed Schiller, back in ninth, and Richie Joplin, the only Audi in the field today, which is very peculiar. This group, the Audi and the BMW, are the two most popular cars, so to only have one Audi on track comes as a bit of a surprise today. Looks like Maximilian Gunther is pretty content just to ride in second place right now. Have not seen him make any kind of significant push. There you see the wide runoff zone off of turn 3. Mike Dolling is having some issues again. Let's take a look. Looks like he's had a couple of them the last couple of minutes. A little clip of the apron and goes around here. Has to wait for a lot of cars to get by and just finally gets the car corrected and going the right way to, again, Mike Dolling had a major opportunity here today to close up the points gap significantly, with the top two being, oh, here we go. The move for the lead as Max Gunther goes to the high side out of the final turn. Down into turn 1, he'll have the outside line side by side. Back up the hill. And for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of that turn. I've been trying to remember it all morning long. But meanwhile, Nalawi holding him off for the moment. But Max has the inside line, and here comes Yuho. Yuho in the mix. It's a 3-car battle for the lead. They're 3 wide. They come off the turn 3 wide. Yuho takes advantage. And Yuho to the lead. Let's see that from a different angle, because that was impressive. Here they come into the left-hander. Oh, a little tap between them. Yuho sees the hole open up, jumps to the inside. Yuho now to the lead. Max Gunther in second. Scott Nalawi in third, and Richie Joplin has crashed. Just a little too hot, gets on the brakes a little too hard, goes around but manages to keep it going. McCready has crashed, or has gone off track as well. And again, just that little bit right there through that one turn, we have seen 3 or 4 cars go off there already today. Justin Swafford has also gone off track. And just a little too hot into that turn. Barely taps the back wall. No damage to the car, thankfully, but definitely a setback. And now the The field is kind of flipped upside down a little bit. Yuho has the lead now. Max Gunther in second, Scott Malawi in third, Eric McCready back in fourth, but he is gaining on that lead 3. Mike Marshall now up into 5th, Matt Bear into 6th, Justin Swafford back to 7th, Ed Schiller now up to 8th, Mike Dulling in 9th, and Richie Joplin in 10th. Max Gunther now has gotten up into second. He is trying to close back up on Yuho. What a move. That was quite a battle when they went 3 wide. Yuho exceptionally good at sitting there just waiting for the opportunity and having the momentum when that opportunity appears. He always seems to find a way through clean. Scott Nalawi back in third. McCready in fourth is now 8.5 seconds back. He was gaining on him for a bit, but now that they've gone single file again and stopped battling, they're starting to pull away a little bit. Mike Marshall in fifth, the lone Porsche in the field. He might be in a little bit of trouble because Matt Bear is closing in on him, as is Justin Swafford. And Ed Schiller is gaining on all of them. Ed Schiller not far behind. He mentioned in pre-race he's usually a back marker. I don't think that has been the case here today. His lap time's not that far off the lead group. I think Ed might actually have something for some of these guys today. Matt Bear has gone off track. Just a bit wide through there. Clips a bit of the apron. The car gets unstable, but he manages to hold on to it. And it looks like he might have had another. We'll watch here for a second. But, oh, there it is. He clipped the grass. Slides it off. You got to give it to Matt. That was an epic save. Yuho out front has only opened up about a 0.9 of a second gap thus far. Just can't seem to get. He has the power advantage on the straightaway, but obviously the BMWs have the advantage through the turns. And if you're in that Mercedes, you're looking behind you. You see a couple, 3 BMWs coming for you. Yuho is really sending it there. And it doesn't look like Nalawi is done with this fight yet. The last couple of corners, Scott has really been sending it through, going a little bit wider, pushing just a little bit harder. Let's watch Scott for a minute, and we'll see through this first section. Scott sends it deeper into the corner, down a little lower line, and really close. He looks to the inside. Scott Nalawi back into second now, and he is going to try and run down Yuho. The gap now, as they battle, has opened up from second to Yuho is 1.4 seconds. It was when he came by. But he is already gaining again on Yuho. It's now down to 1.25 seconds. And the gap now back under 1 second already. Max Gunther in third, getting ready to start a new lap. Let's ride along with him down into turn 1. taking that turn a little bit wider, carrying a little bit more speed and momentum through the apex, down into Druids. Off of Druids, back down the hill toward the left-hander. This, they have that runoff zone off the turn right there. He goes. Then the sweeping left-hander cuts it back in mid-turn and gets back on the gas for the long straightaway. Just rolls out of the throttle. Not a lot of brake going into that right-hander. He'll start slowing down now, though. Cuts the apex, runs it off just a little wide, and then back on the gas. Have to be on your toes throughout the back half of this track as you come through those final turns. Carry as much speed as possible so you have that speed down through the final right-hander onto the front straightaway that's not really straight at any, not any significant straightaway anyway. And back across the start-finish line down into turn 1. Max did that lap in 122.4. He was 1/10 of a second faster than Nalawi that time by. Ed Schiller has crashed. There is Ed in the Ferrari. Got a little bit of the grass. We've seen that a lot of drivers catch that little bit of grass there setting up for that turn. Ed Schiller gets the car corrected and moves, keeps going. You can tell all these drivers absolutely pushing to the limit here today. 3 weeks left in the season after today, and these guys are getting, with the top 2 in points out, these guys are going for everything they can. And look at this, Nalawi and Max Gunther are not done battling it out yet. They are closing in on Yuho a little bit at a time, but they continue to battle each other as well. McCready now in 4th. Justin Swafford has gotten back up and made his way up into the top 5 now. Matt Bear has closed in on him as well. He is in 6th. Mike Marshall currently 7th. Mike Doling is 8th. Richie Joplin back up into 9th. And Ed Schiller in 10th. Oh, Ed's off. Let's see what happened. He had just gotten the car corrected for... Oh, clips that... hits that inside barrier a little too hard, comes to the outside, clips the grass, and it just sends him around. A lot of drivers talking about how, during pre-race, they were talking about how much this grass is so slick, more than most tracks, and even just the smallest little bit of tire on the grass can send you around. We've seen that play out so many times already. Especially turn 7, turn 8. Yeah, things can get very exciting there with just a little bit of touch of the grass. Yuho's lead holding at about 0.8 of a second. Scott Malawi, Maximilian Gunther have not been able to close any closer yet. McCready back and forth, almost 15 seconds back from the lead battle. Justin Swafford in 5th place, 17 seconds behind McCready. But Matt Bear right behind Swafford, 1.5 seconds back. Mike Marshall, another 1.25 seconds back from him. Mike Dolling needs a win here today. He needs a really good points day today. He has an opportunity to make up a ton of points on both Adam Barker and Giancarlo today. If he can get to 7th place before this one is over, Mike Marshall 6.5 seconds ahead. If Mike Dolling could get there, he could start the second race in on the pole and could take advantage of that here today. Meanwhile, Yuho just continues to run steady, consistent laps. Actually, last time by, Yuho ran a 121.9. Everybody else was in the 122s or more. And he opened the gap to about 1.3 seconds over Scott Nalawi. Conversely, Scott has been consistently running 122.1, 122.2. Not exactly slow laps, but Yuho has just stepped it up in the last couple of laps. Scott Nalawi, Maximilian Gunther have been extremely consistent laps the whole race. Yuho looks like he just, since the halfway point, or since about 10 minutes to go, he just decided it was time to crank it up a little bit. McCready back in 4th place, just needs to hold on to his position from here. He's got 16 seconds to Maximilian Gunther ahead and 17 seconds to Justin Swafford behind. He has a pretty safe cushion both directions. Swafford has started pulling away from Matt Bear, now 3.8 seconds. Matt Bear in 6th place, about to have his hands full of the Comlift Solutions Porsche of Mike Marshall. Justin Swafford is around. Swafford had already fought his way up into 5th place. It faded the... Oh, something happened when he got on the brakes. The whole car just bobbled. Managed to get it off track and out of the way, but what a close call. Mike Dolling has managed to make, with Swafford's incident, Dolling now up into 7th place. As long as he holds that position, for race number 2, he'll start on the pole. Swafford is on pit road. Looks like he is in for repairs. Yuho's lead now almost 2 seconds over Scott Nalawi and Maximilian Gunther. McCready currently back in 4th. Matt Bear now up into 5th. But Mike Marshall continues to close in on Matt Bear. With 5 minutes left, we might see a battle for 5th place before this one is all said and done. Mike Dolling is now close within 3.5 seconds of Mike Marshall as well. Last time by, Doling was over a second faster than Mike Marshall. He might have enough time to get up there and pull 6th place. Yuho, though, in the lead, is about to come into lap traffic. Richie Joplin just ahead. Richie, some damage to the front end of that Audi. Here comes Yuho to the outside. Richie moves over, lets him by easy. And look at this, as they come by the lap car, Max Gunther tries to use the lap car as a pick, and he starts making a move for second. Max down to the inside as they come down the front straightaway. Max sticks the nose ahead into turn 1. Scott Malloy tries to cross back over. Can't get there yet. Scott drives it a little deeper into Druids, but it is not enough. And Maximilian Gunther now back to second. And what a battle these two have had throughout this whole... Oh, wow. Oh, Nolowi goes wide. Nolowi went too wide, clipped the grass. He clipped the grass and ended up... he gets into the inside wall just a little bit. Manages to get it rolling. And it looked like he mitigated the damage. Matt Bear has gone off track as well. There is Matt headed down into turn 1 in 5th place. Goes too wide into the dirt. Manages to pull it back up. But now Mike Marshall is there. So Yuho still has the lead. Maximilian Gunther now in second, has a big gap over Scott Nolowi in third. McCready in fourth. Matt Bear in fifth, but after going wide through turn 1, well, he's in trouble. The Mikes are coming. Mike Marshall currently in sixth, just 1.3 seconds back, and just another 1.5 seconds back is Mike Doling in seventh. Here is just an interesting tidbit for you. In every other league I broadcast with Matt Bear in it, he runs the number 420. Except here where Mike Doling runs it. That does get confusing from time to time. Look at Doling. Oh, wow. What a run up the hill by Mike Doling into Druids. He had a heck of a run. He is right there to Mike Marshall's back bumper. Doling is definitely sending it, trying to pick up as many points as he can here this morning. Matt Bear and Mike Marshall cannot make any mistakes here. Yuho got the white flag. Max Gunther in second, Nolowi in third, McCready coming down in fourth. The battle's going to be on for fifth, though. Matt Bear in fifth, Mike Marshall sixth, Mike Doling seventh, all within a second and a half of each other. And I am watching that Mercedes of Mike Doling closely because we have seen the run that car gets. And here he goes. He looks down to the inside of Marshall. Can't get there yet. One more turn to figure it out. Yuho is going to come down. No, Yuho has... should not have any interference from lap traffic. Mike Doling looks to the outside of Mike Marshall. Oh, look at the move by Marshall. Doling to the outside. Coming out of Druids down the hill, it is Marshall And Doling side by side. Doling to the inside, pulls a nose ahead. They are leaning on each other here. And it is Mike Doling up to 6. Meanwhile, Yuho comes across and takes the win. Maximilian Gunther is second. Scott Malawi will come on third. McCready in fourth. Matt Bear for the moment has fifth, but they've still got a half a lap to go before fifth place is decided. Mike Doling in sixth. Mike Marshall still right on his back bumper. Doling has already closed the gap back up on Matt Bear. He looks to the outside. Did something just go wrong with Matt Bear? Might be out of fuel. And Matt Bear, it looks like, is out of fuel. And Mike Marshall, you got to give him big applause to Marshall. It looks like he was helping him get to the finish line. Huge shout out for the sportsmanship here. Yuho wins race number 1. Max comes home second. Scott Malawi in third. Let's see if we can get a word with our top 3. Hey, Scott, this is Doug. You got me?
I got you, Doug.
You and Max had one heck of a battle.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I think, is he the one I was battling with last week, too? I'm not sure.
I'm pretty...
Ask him later.
I'll ask him. I'd have to look back at my notes. I don't remember. But yeah, dude, that was insane the way you guys were going at it. And a couple of times you touched, both of you kept going. It was really impressive the way you guys were going at it.
Yeah, I love the close battles I have with Max. It's always a lot of fun.
I have to ask, did you have anything for him there at the end? Or could you have, if you'd been back side by side, could you have done anything with him?
I don't think I had enough. Like, on this track, it's so hard to pass. You really need him to make a mistake. So with only a couple laps left, I didn't expect him to make any mistakes anyways.
Well, regardless, man, you did an amazing job this morning. A great race. Another top 3 finish. You got to be happy about that.
Thanks a lot, Doug. Yeah, ton of fun.
All right. Scott Malawi comes home third. Max comes home in second. Hey, Max, this is Doug. You got me?
Hi, Doug.
Hey, I was just talking to Scott. You two had an awesome race, and it seemed like, man, the whole race you two were just going at it.
Yeah, we actually just talked about it, and we thought if we wouldn't have fought, we could have kept Yuho behind the whole race.
There was that mistake where you two touched, and that's when Yuho snuck by you. I think you're right, because you guys literally closed that gap up. Every time he'd pull a little bit ahead, you guys would just close back up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Scott was really fast, and he had the unfortunate incident at the end. Yeah, it would have been fun to fight all the way to the end with him.
It definitely would have been awesome to watch, but I have to point something out. The last couple of weeks, you have really come alive, and you came into today 10th in points, but with Harry and Nick not being here, and the points being so close, you'll pull up to at least 8th, probably 7th in points tonight, and with the top 2 being out, you might actually end up being in contention for the championship before this is all said and done.
Hey, that's actually great. Yeah. Since we changed the car, yeah, I struggled at the beginning of the season with the new car, but I think I grasp it now. So
it definitely seems so, because the last 3 or 4 weeks, man, it has looked like you were one of the fastest out there on the track.
Yeah, it's really fun with the car. It's so stable in comparison to the Porsche.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Really stable.
Well, great job, and looking forward to seeing race number 2.
Yeah, thank you, Doug.
All right, let's see if we can get a hold of Yuho and talk to him about that win. Hey, Yuho, it's Doug. You got me?
Hey, Doug. How you doing?
Hey, I am good. I have to ask, if not for those two touching, going through that left-hander and you being able to shoot the gap, Could you have gotten past them?
Nope. They were faster than me. So basically, I was driving like quality laps, the qualifying laps, the whole bloody race. So really surprised that I didn't clip the cross badly on any of the point, because I was really risking it.
Yeah, I have to, I was watching your lap times, and those two guys were extremely consistent, and your lap times were just kind of, especially with about 10 minutes to go, your lap times really started kind of dropping, like the tires had just finally come in, and it was, you were at the perfect spot.
No, actually, that point I started to ease off, because there was that safe kind of 1.5 second cap, or even more. So basically, I didn't need to push anymore. So those were the laps that I would be driving if I were driving normally in the race.
Well, man, another win this season, and you continue to move up. Plus, with the other two, with the way things have gone, that'll actually put you back in contention for the title with 3 weeks left to go. I think after this week, the points are about to get really, really tight in the top 10.
Yeah, it's fun. Let's see how it goes.
All right, man. Good luck.
Thanks.
What an event. And now going into race number 2, the top 7 are going to invert. Yeah, Richie, these guys are really fast. You were doing great out there, buddy. Good luck. Now the top 7 will invert. So starting race number 2, we're going to see some of these guys have to fight their way through the traffic. Matt Bear and Mike Marshall starting on the front row. Mike Dolling and McCready on the second row. Scott Malawi, Maximilian Gunther on the third row. The winner of race number 1, Yuho, starting in 7th. Justin Swafford in 8th. Ed Schiller is 9th. And Richie Joplin starting in 10th. This will get exciting. We saw Mike Dolling really coming alive the last part of that race. He's going to start in 3rd this time. He needs a good points race here today. Could it be about to happen? Matt Bear, I would be willing to bet, added a little bit of fuel to the setup between the races. And a huge shout out again to Mike Marshall. This is not uncommon for this group. We have seen the sportsmanship on display countless times. But a situation like that where Mike Marshall pulls in behind and pushes Matt Bear to the finish line, you got to give him a round of applause for that. It was just awesome. Last week at Alton in race number 2, once the field inverted, we saw chaos on lap 1 as the guys who were in the top 3 in race 1 started race number 2 and tried to get to the front quickly. We saw some chaos. We saw 3 and 4 wide at Alton. This track a little bit wider. Will we see that again here? Pace car leads them down, getting ready to go through the final turn. The Porsche pace car will pull off. Pace car is in. Matt Bear fires. Barney's got it. Green flag is in the air. Matt Bear gets set up into turn number 1. Mike Marshall in second. Doling already looks to the bottom, headed toward Druids. And they are too wide all over. Who is that weaving around back a shot? Was that Max? Max looking for a hole. Oh, Doling is in the wall. No, he saves it. What happened there? A lot of chaos back behind. Coming down the hill. Mike Marshall, Mike Doling side by side. They touch. Scott Nalawi gets into him just a little bit and goes around. Mike Doling has slid back into 6th place now. Maximilian Gunther had a bit of an off track in that as well. Oh, him and McCready got together. He ends up going off the track, gets it back on, loses 1 or 2 positions, but manages to keep his momentum up. Meanwhile, Matt Bear, for the first time ever, leads a lap in the GT3 NSS series. Matt Bear, the Mad Bear, is leading. Mike Marshall in second. Yuho has just found his way up to 3rd, now to 2nd. He looks down to the inside through Druids. Mike Marshall back in 3rd, but here comes Justin Swafford. Justin charging forward. That Mercedes definitely hooked up this morning. Swafford looks to the inside as they turn back up the hill. It's going to be a drag race. The advantage goes to the Mercedes. And now, Maximilian Gunther side by side. Mike Marshall. Oh, Marshall gets into him. Marshall is sideways. He goes around. And several cars. Max Gunther ended up going off track. Take another look at that. Looks like he just gets a little too close. Marshall goes off. Max goes really wide, but manages to keep the car straight and going the right way. Then Swafford goes off just as he picks up 4th place. Swafford manages to come by, picks up 4th place, but clips way too much of the apex there into the grass, drifts it over. And what a turn of events. By the way, Matt Bear just set the fastest lap of the race so far in the lead. Yuho now in 2nd. Max Gunther has made his way up to 3rd. Richie Joplin, who came on between races and said these guys are fast, he cannot keep up, he is in 4th. Richie Joplin now up to 4th. And look at this, a guy who said he was a back marker in pre-race interviews. Ed Schiller is now up to 5th. Scott Nalawi in 6th. Mike Marshall in 7th. Mike Doling's big opportunity in the points has not really panned out yet today. He is currently in 8th. McCready now back in 9th, way behind. And Justin Swafford is on pit road, maybe done for the day. See if we can see what happened to Swafford. Apparently he had another incident after the one we highlighted. And I don't know what it looks like. Trying to see what exactly happened to Swafford here. This was after the incident, the early incident. He was making his way forward. Oh, just pushes a little too deep into the corner. Trying to see what happened to McCready. McCready went off track earlier in the race. Let's see if we can find what happened to him. This was during all that chaos on the 2nd lap. Oh! Mike Dolan gets together with McCready. That is what set those two drivers backwards. Matt Bear is off track, goes wide. Yuho looks. Matt Bear has the lead, but Yuho, he is pushing it. As we've seen the last couple of laps, he is using every inch of the track, and some that aren't there, he is trying to hold Yuho off. Can he do it? Yuho in second, Max in third, McCready losing a lap. Richie Joplin in fourth, Ed Schiller in fifth, and Scott Nalawi in... Ed Schiller goes wide. Scott Nalawi now to fifth. Matt Bear still holding the lead, but can he hold off Yuho for the next 24 minutes? Matt is no slouch when it comes to road racing, but Yuho is one of the best of the best. A former GT3 NSS series. Oh! Bear is wide again. Yuho looks to the inside. Matt really sends it through there and holds him off. As I was saying, Yuho, a former champion in this group, is in contention every single week for the points. And with that win in race number 1, with Mike Dolling finishing further back, Yuho is definitely going to close up the gap on Dolling. Actually, I think he'll take third from Dolling, possibly second from Giancarlo. And with Giancarlo and... Oh! Yuho to the inside, and he gets into Matt Bear. Max gets into the back of him. Max Gunther to the lead. Let's see that again. They come down. Yuho looked to the inside. It just ran out of space there. Matt and Yuho both get going again. And Yuho again showing good sportsmanship. He stops to make sure Matt Bear gets out in front of him. Meanwhile, Max Gunther has the lead. Matt Bear in second. Yuho now in third. Nalawi in fourth. He is closing back in. And Richie Joplin in fifth. Mike Marshall back in sixth. Mike Dolling in seventh. McCready in eighth. Ed Schiller is on pit road in ninth. And Justin Swafford appears to be out of the race. What an eventful second race, and that has been the tale all season long. That first race sometimes stretches out. That second race, everybody's battling the entire time. Matt Bear in second, 6 seconds back from Max. Maximilian Gunther has not had a win yet this season. Could today be the day? Max came in today 10th in points, finished third in race number 1. Second in race number 1, excuse me. And now leading here. Gunther Motorsports making the change from Porsche to BMW this season, and it has definitely paid off. He said he struggled early in the season trying to adjust to the new car, but once he found how much more stable it was, and he found his way around the car, man, the last several weeks, he has just been charging forward. We knew it was a matter of time before Max was up leading these, and It is a matter of time before he puts that car in victory lane. Matt Bear in second, Yuho in third, nose to tail again. Yuho gets a massive run through there, trying to shoot to the inside, being a little bit more careful. Ed Schiller is back off pit road now. And the way this race is going, it is still anybody's fight. You see Max has some damage from the incidents earlier in the race, but it has not slowed him down. He continues to extend his lead. Meanwhile, Matt Barrett, Yuho going at it. Yuho looks like he's being a little bit more patient, looking for the perfect position to take it. Oh, here comes Yuho down to the inside as they go down the front straightaway. Yuho has the advantage into turn one. Matt breaks early. Tries to cut back down to the inside. Matt's got some momentum off turn one. But Yuho is just sending it. Yuho now in second place, but he is 9 seconds behind Maximilian Gunther. Last time by, Max was over a second faster than Yuho, but their fastest laps of the race. This is kind of funny. The Max's fastest lap of the race, 121.87. Yuho's fastest lap so far, 122.87, exactly 1 second slower than Max. Mike Marshall has gone off track. Oh, just a little bitty clip of the grass sends him off. He manages to, I don't know that he actually touched the wall there. Don't see any damage on the right rear. Nice save by Mike Marshall. Mike now up into 5th place. He is 17 seconds back, and Richie Joplin is on pit road. What happened? He was holding the top 5. Let's see. Richie Joplin shortly, goes through Druids, just loses the back end. Richie had a great start to this race. He was up to 5th. Swafford also had a great start to this race. But both of the Nowski drivers struggling. Someone who is not struggling is Maximilian Gunther, as he continues to extend his lead. Last time by, still a half a second faster than Yuho. Matt Bear in 3rd place right now has Scott Nalawi to the back bumper. We will definitely post the points later today after this race. With 3 weeks left to go, it is going to end up being anybody's championship. Especially with weeks like this where you've got the top 2 out of the race Scott Nalawi has gotten past Matt Bear. Matt Bear back to 4th, Nalawi to 3rd. Mike Marshall 20 seconds back in 5th. Mike Dulling in 6th. Richie Joplin still... Oh, Richie is off track. Going down through turn 1. He had been to pit road for repairs, likely on cold tires. Just overcooked it through turn 1. Max Gunther's lead now 9.4 seconds over Yuho. He's been consistently faster than Yuho every single lap. Scott Nalawi in 3rd, 5 seconds back from Yuho. Will he be able to pull back up to him? Matt Bear in 4th, still staying with Nalawi. Little bit of damage on the rear of the car. Mike Marshall back in 5th. He is 19 seconds behind Matt Bear, but get this, he is gaining on Matt Bear. An average of about half a second a lap faster. Mike Dulling currently in 6th, 13 seconds behind Marshall, and if it goes anything like race 1 did, he has a lot more speed in the second half of the race. He goes a little wide. McCready back in 8th place. Had issues early. Had to hit pit road for repairs. Richie Joplin holding on to 8th. Ed Schiller in 9th. Swafford is out in 10th. And note that it has not been smooth sailing for Max Gunther. So far, he already has some damage to the nose of that car. Although you have to wonder if, since that damage, he's faster, will he be trying to damage the left front of the car in the future just to make himself a little bit faster? Mike Dulling has gone off track. Through the final turn, just shoots it into the sand. Never lift. I don't think he lifted one bit. Matt Bear has gone off track as well. Oh, just a bit wide through the runoff zone. Manages to keep it off the wall and the tree. I guarantee you Matt never lifted. Coming down 10 minutes to go, Maximilian Gunther has a 9-second lead over Yuho in 2nd. Scott Nalawi in 3rd, 5 seconds back. Matt Bear in 4th, he is about 4.2 seconds back. Mike Marshall in 5th, 18 seconds back, and Mike Dulling has lost a lot of ground here, as we saw a few moments ago. He was actually gaining on Mike Marshall rather rapidly. McCready in 7th has had a rough race. You can see he still has a little bit of nose damage. Richie Joplin, multiple issues. He ran in the top 5 early on, has drifted back into 8th, still in the fight. The way this race is going, staying in the fight, probably a great idea. Ed Schiller back after several weeks away, currently running in 9th place. Ed was up in the top 5 earlier as well. Yuho comes flying by him. Yuho now about 9.5 seconds back from Max Gunther. Maximilian Gunther, as we heard, switching to the BMWs earlier or at the start of the season for that whole team. Definitely a more stable platform. He struggled the first few weeks, and then it all started coming together. The setups come together, the driving has come together, and it has really shown the last 4 or 5 weeks. He has worked his way back into the top 10 in points. One of only 2 drivers in the top 10 to not have a win yet this season. Today, though, that BMW looking very, very good. Yuho in second, holds about 9 seconds behind. Looks like Yuho's going to get a little help from McCready to cut some of the air, make up a little bit of time here. 7.5 minutes left. I don't know if Yuho can cut that much time back, and he's got to be hoping Max makes a mistake here. Scott Nalawi back in third, 6.4 seconds back. Remember, Scott went around right through that section on the first lap. So he has definitely staged one heck of a comeback here today. Matt Bear has made his way, held on to the top 5 the whole race after leading very early on. Oh, Matt, a little wide there again. Matt is definitely in full send mode, trying to get back up into the top 3. Mike Marshall making his way up into the top 5. Mike Dolling back in 6th place, currently trying to get as many points as possible here today with both Adam Barker and Giancarlo out of the race. Has an opportunity to pick up a ton of points. Top 5 finish in race 1 will definitely help. Was looking for a win here today. Unlikely at this point, but still a great points day, and with the top 2 being out, with so many of the top 10 being out, going into next week, the points battle is really going to be close. Just over 5 minutes left to go for Max Gunther. And Matt Bear has had a big problem. That was the incident we saw just a few moments ago. He managed to recover from that one. An almost identical incident the next lap. And it looks like there was a third incident for Matt Barrett through the same section. Managed to, managed to get the car corrected. Meanwhile, Mike Marshall and Ed Schiller have both had incidents. Ed just sends in a little too much rear brake in it. It goes around. And what happened to Mike Marshall as our leader just took the white flag? Marshall just drifts it through turn one. Meanwhile, white flag is in the air for Maximilian Gunther. Could he get his first win of the season here today? Mike Dolling just had an incident. Oh, wow, way out of shape. Almost saved it the whole turn. Managed to get that car going again. Maximilian Gunther has the lead. Yuho in second is 7 seconds back. Nalawi in third. Matt Bear in fourth. Mike Marshall in fifth. Maximilian Gunther heads toward the final turn. And here he comes for his first win of the season. Maximilian Gunther gets the win at Brands Hatch. Yuho comes out of the final turn in second. Naloe is going to come home in third. Matt Bear will finish fourth. Mike Marshall will finish fifth. And here's a funny stat for you. Yuho ran the fastest lap of the race on the final lap. All right, let's see if we can get hold of Scott. Hey, Scott, it's Doug. You got me?
I got you, Doug.
Hey, that was a wild one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going back and watching that first lap again.
I gotta say, you went around there and you still managed to make a comeback. Obviously, the being on the first lap, it definitely helped you be able to come back, but you still had quite a bit to drive through.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun just kind of having to catch up, I guess. Definitely different than the last race.
Well, you still come home with two third-place finishes here, and given the number of drivers in the top 10 in points not here tonight, is definitely going to help.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Hopefully I can stick around for the rest of the season and catch up a bit.
Well, good luck, man. It was definitely a great show today.
Cheers. Thanks, Doug.
All right, let's see if we can get a word with Yuho. Hey, Yuho, it's Doug. You got me?
Hey, Doug. Yeah, I got you.
Hey, a great run, and I have to give you an interesting stat. Your last lap was the fastest lap of the race.
Well, I finally, I guess, start to learn the track then.
It seemed like you had figured it out pretty well. You were quite fast out there, just not able to get up toward the front quickly enough. If you had gotten to Max, could you have gotten around him?
No, I think the idea really was to, run away, but we got entangled with Matthew on there, and, that's when it went. So no worries there. That was on me that he braked pretty early, fair enough, but I knew that, and I wasn't positioning my car correct there, so we unfortunately touched, and that pushed him off the track. Not the proudest moment of mine.
Well, I have to say, despite that, I did see that you checked up and made sure he got back out of the dirt before you did. That was some great sportsmanship.
Yeah, well, I need to somehow, justify the nickname I have anyway.
Okay, you got a valid point there.
Yeah.
Well, great race today. Great job as always, and you probably picked up a ton of points here today.
Yeah, it was great fun.
Congrats, buddy.
Cheers. Thanks.
And it has taken 8 weeks, but he finally gets to victory lane. Hey, Max, it's Doug. You got me?
Hey, Doug.
Hey, congratulations. I knew it was coming soon, but you got to be happy with the way that turned out.
Yeah, I'm really happy how that turned out. It was a really great race. It was actually, I had a lot of luck.
Well, you say you had a lot of luck, but once you took to the lead, you were pulling away from everybody, and it did not matter who was in second place. Until the last 2 laps, you were consistently pulling away from Yuho. You were consistently faster than Yuho, and consistently faster than the rest of the field.
Yeah, the last 2 laps, I lost concentration a bit. So, yeah, I did a lot of mistakes. But the rest was really good. I really love the track, and with the BMW, it's awesome.
So I can guess we're probably going to see the Gunther team stay with the BMW for a long while to come.
Pretty much, I guess. It's very stable. As long as they don't change anything with it, I guess we will stick with it for a while.
Well, that is awesome. It definitely has suited you. You've been charging forward in the points, and now you get your first win of the season. Congratulations, man. That was an awesome run.
Thank you very much, Doug. It was a lot of fun.
It looked like it. Maximilian Gunther gets his first win of the season, and he puts himself in contention in the points as well. As soon as the league has posted the points, we'll get those posted on Facebook as well as we go into the final 3 weeks of the season. I guarantee you things have changed dramatically after today's race. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to come back tonight, 7:30 Eastern. BRR is on, taking the Xfinity cars to Kansas, I believe, tonight. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys had as much fun as we did. Have a great day.